Whoa. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Compton Rick Rock Body Cam.
Come on, man. What happened to going to get some counseling, man? What's going on with these relationships, man? We about to do a reaction to a video that's off the chain. Seemed like something straight out of a horror movie, man. We're going to jump into that. But before we get there, man, I need everybody to go subscribe to my new YouTube channel, Compton Rick Rock Body Cam. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Y'all go over there and subscribe to that right now. Well, not right now, at the end of the video. Man, let's get to this. We're not going to waste too much time. This is one of those videos, man, that's just, it's just crazy. Let's go over here and get to this, man. We ain't going to waste all this time. Let's go.
And I asked God, I said up to him, I said, you heard them? They said they need me. So give me what they need so I can give it to them. And guess what he did? He gave it to me. 50 days out, man. Check up, man. September 16th, we doing my Walk Home party at Vibes, man. Going big, man.
Roll down the window and put the gun outside the car. Roll down the passenger window and drop the gun outside the car.
Gun sir, gun sir.
This man, they weren't doing no plan at all. It looked like they was bussing on it. Was they bussing on that car? For y'all don't know what hood term bussing is, man. That's popping them pistols, man. Let's get back to it.
This is the story of Tony Roy, a man who spent 8 years in prison, walked out calling himself a changed man. He got married within 3 weeks of his release, and less than a year later, his wife was found cut into pieces inside garbage bags in a bathtub. And while investigators believe she had already been dead for days, Tony was online going live on Facebook, celebrating his freedom and announcing a party. What was really going on behind that camera is what we are about to get into. To really understand how this happened, you need to know who Tony Roy and Shauna Williams were before their paths crossed, because this story started long before July of 2023. Tony Roosevelt Roy III was born on April 26, 1979 in Michigan. He went by the nickname Tree, and physically he was somebody you would remember. 6 feet 6 inches tall, 270 pounds, covered in tattoos including the faces of his children on his lower right arm, and a money roll tattooed on the side of his neck. He was a big man with a huge personality, and when he spoke, people listened. The problem was, what he was saying and who he actually was were two very different things. His criminal record goes all the way back to 1998, when he was first convicted in Genesee County for drug possession and running from the police. That alone would not define a person, but what came after made it clear that 1998 was just the beginning. By 2000 and 2001, Tony was back in court in Washtenaw County, this time facing multiple counts of armed robbery, assault with intent to rob while armed, and kidnapping, all carrying sentences of up to 20 years. Then, in 2014, he was convicted again in Genesee County on another armed robbery charge, plus carrying a hidden weapon and illegally possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. And while he was already inside for all of that, he caught yet another charge in 2017 for having contraband inside the prison. When you add it all up, Tony Roy had at least 17 felony convictions on his record and had spent the better part of his adult life cycling in and out of Michigan's correctional system.
Even though I came home and did 8 years, you hear me? I did 8 years for a simple mistake that I did. But I still didn't stop working. I still didn't stop being a father. I still didn't stop being a leader. I still didn't stop being a business owner, even when I was in prison. And the white people was getting mad at me. They was getting mad. They said, well, you selling candy, you selling fudge, you running the store. We think you selling drugs, which wasn't true.
They think you selling these ass too. You selling more than all just candy and all that. If they mad at you, you selling more than candy. Come on, knock it off. You ain't fooling nobody. What else you was up in there selling? Tell it off. You gonna tell the truth.
They thought I was. You got all this stuff going on, but they got all this stuff in their community already. They got money already. They get their money, they get their people, their kids go to the best schools. Our kids got to go through the hood, walk through this dirty ass sidewalks and all this shit. So when a black man got some money, it's a fear. You know what I'm saying? It's fear. For a guy to get out of prison, I ain't been home 50 days, it's $100,000. $100,000 in my hand. You feel me? Bag up, show him the truck. You feel me?
A simple mistake. That is what he called it on camera, like 17 felony convictions, armed robberies, and kidnapping barely registered. He was released on parole on June 30th, 2022, and he came home with a plan, not just for his life, but for his image. Within 50 days of walking out of prison, he was on Facebook Live showing off what he claimed was $100,000 in cash. He was talking about how God had blessed him and how he had never stopped being a businessman, even behind bars.
One thing about me, I don't cherish money. I'm always getting some money. I came home $100,000 up, $100,000 up. I came home with this, right? Because I saved my money. I always been a businessman, and I studied what businessmen do. I watched my brothers and them think. I watched Dink and them watch from the prison. I watched them get money over and over and over again. Keep businesses going, because we do not give up. We don't refuse to lose, no matter what. And guess what? I ain't worried about nobody robbing me. Somebody say, "Oh, Tree, you shouldn't be doing that." I'm showing people what success look like if you work.
Beyond the cash flex, Tony was genuinely building a following online. He ran a regular Facebook Live show he called 6 p.m. Talk with Tony, going live every Wednesday to talk about mental health, manhood, fatherhood, and what he saw as the root causes of Black men losing their way in the community. He talked openly about his past, got emotional about accountability, and his audience connected with that energy. People were watching and sharing because he looked like exactly the kind of comeback story the community wants to believe in. The man who went through the fire and came out on the other side better for it.
And they thought I fell off. I didn't fall off. I fell down and I got with God. And he blessed me. He said, "You know what, Tree? I want to get you out of here for a minute because this city finna take a turn. Your brothers them finna do some good things, but I think if I leave you in this city, somebody gonna try to kill you."
All right, so far, so good. He sound like a motivational guy. I was just cracking a joke in the beginning. Sound like he could have had a chance at being one of these motivational speakers that we see on all these social media platforms. So far, so good. Motivational. Let's get back to it.
Because you got a good heart. Anybody that know me know. If I got it, you got it. If you with me, I buy everything. I buy all the gas, I buy all the food, everything. Same thing my brother Dink do. The same thing. We get out here, we take care of our people. So I'm not in fear of nobody hurting me. You know what I'm saying?
Now let us talk about Shauna, because she deserves to be more than a footnote in a story about the man who took her life. Shauna Roy, born Shauna Williams in 1982, grew up in Saginaw, Michigan as the youngest of 3 siblings in a close family. Her best friend of 30 years, Dominique Vaughn, who had known her since they sat next to each other in 6th grade science class at North Middle School, described Shauna as the kind of woman who walked into a room and made it feel warmer just by being there. Shauna greeted everybody with "Hey honey," and genuinely meant it every time. She was the person who showed up, who remembered, who gave without keeping score. She graduated from Saginaw High School in 2000, studied caregiving at Delta College, and later completed a medical program at Dorsey Medical School in 2013. She worked as a production worker at Next Year Automotive in Auburn Hills and had a real vision for her future. She wanted to open an adult foster care facility in Saginaw, a safe space for people who had nowhere else to go. She organized winter giveaways, collecting hats and gloves for homeless people in her city, and sent good morning texts to the people she loved every single day without fail. She was a mother of 2 sons, aged 16 and 7. Shauna and Tony first connected online in 2020 while he was still incarcerated. And the thing you have to understand about Shauna is believing in people who had been through hard times wasn't just something she did casually. It was core to who she was as a person. She genuinely believed in second chances and lived that belief out in practical ways every day of her life. Tony, with all his talk of God and growth and family and accountability, was presenting himself as exactly the kind of man who deserved one. They married on July 22, 2022, just 22 days after Tony walked out of prison, and what looked from the outside like a love story was about to become something her friends could only watch play out from the sidelines, with no way to stop it. From the outside looking in, Tony and Shauna's marriage in the summer of 2022 looked like a win. He was freshly out of prison, she was a loving and supportive woman who believed in his potential, and they were supposed to be building something new together. But the people close to Shauna started noticing changes in her almost from the beginning. Tony had started doing things inside the marriage that anyone who understands abusive relationships will recognize immediately as warning signs. He demanded to know where Shauna was at all times and questioned her about everything she did throughout the day. He accused her of cheating on him repeatedly and challenged her character in ways that wore her down over time.
Yep, that's normally how it goes. Once somebody get to blaming you for cheating, that mean they cheating themselves. Let me finish watching this, man. Let's see where it's going, because this is getting interesting.
He slowly cut her off from the people around her until the woman who used to check in on everyone she loved had gone quiet and became hard to reach. Her friend Dominique Vaughn, who had 30 years of knowing exactly how Shauna sounded and moved through the world, saw the change clearly. The bubbly, laughing, always present woman she had grown up with had been replaced by someone who seemed weighed down and withdrawn. The people who loved Shauna were worried, but she was still in it. Meanwhile, Tony kept going live every Wednesday like nothing was wrong. He was on Facebook talking to his community about what men needed to do differently, about respecting women, about taking accountability, about the damage that absent fathers leave behind. He put real emotion into those conversations, and the audience felt it, which is exactly why so many people trusted him.
We already know, like, since like my era, like the crack era, even the pill era, all the murder era in my city in Flint, it erased a lot of men in the community. So what ended up happening, she just gave me that. Yeah, what ended up happening is that once the men leave, then the women are forced to raise the men on their own. The younger men, the kids. So a woman really wasn't supposed to be a man. So if she don't raise him right, accordingly, like, you know, like a man would be like, you know, upstanding, he could do everything, masculine and all that stuff. That's not her fault that he lacked those qualities, because we, the men, left him, right? So that's why I say on this show, I'm taking responsibility and reversing it into results that change the next person and make him think like, damn, Tree right. We is keep leaving. And that's the reason why these boys out here acting like girls and in their feelings all the time and get too sensitive, because it started when they were small. As a kid, they watched their mother, they watched their auntie, they watched their grandmother, they watched their mother homegirls. You know what I'm saying? They watched the girls around the neighborhood, because it's a shortage on men now. So once the men left, the women forced to raise them on their own. So all the child get to do is to absorb all the female traits, because there's no man traits around for him to absorb. The big boys, we stuck in our way. Ain't no changing us. I'm stubborn than a motherfucker. Anybody that I dated or been on here or know me that's on this Facebook right now know how I am. But that don't mean that I can't change. That don't mean that I'm not human and that I don't want help. And since nobody want to give us help, I made my own show on Facebook and said, I'll figure it out myself. Every woman want a thug, right? Sex good, you know, we gonna eat, we gonna do our thing, all that shit. But then what about when we don't take care of the kids? What about when we disappear and be in the streets? What about when we screw about 10, 13, 15 other chicks? That's the thug you want. But what about that good guy that you just overlooked because you call him boring? But you wanted to go up the vibes and chase Big Tree. And then now you ran into some problems.
All right, chat. It seemed like this is where it's taking a turn at. We've been seeing him doing all the motivational speeches. He was breaking it down with the knowledge and the God and all that. Now, as he's getting more comfortable with Facebook, going through his issues and his problems, he's starting to let them slip out. He's basically talking about the woman that he's dating right now, or that he was dating. You weren't about Big Tree. You weren't about the man that's sleeping with. Y'all hear it. So this is when you get on this internet and you get to talking so much. If you don't get unalive, they will use all this.
He was out here presenting himself as someone who deeply understood the harm men cause, while privately doing the exact things he was speaking against. That gap between public image and private behavior is not a coincidence. In March of 2023, what was happening behind closed doors finally made it into a courtroom. Tony was charged with aggravated domestic violence, torture, 2 assault charges, and 8 gun-related offenses against a woman while he was still on parole. Most reports indicate this was a different woman, not Shauna, but that distinction doesn't change what the charges revealed about him. The case was dismissed in April because the victim didn't testify, which is one of the most painful and common patterns in domestic violence situations everywhere in the world. The system almost always needs the victim to speak, and victims are often too afraid, too isolated, or too dependent on their abuser to do that, especially when the case is still early and the full weight of what's happening hasn't fully landed yet. The person walks free, and the next woman in his life has no way of knowing how close the last one came to not making it out alive. The Department of Corrections put Tony back on a GPS tether starting that April for up to 90 days, but he was still free, still posting, and still on parole with a scheduled end date of June 2024. On May 15, 2023, Tony filed for divorce from Shauna in Genesee County Court. Around that same time, Shauna had quietly started making her own plans to leave. She told the people closest to her that she was done and was going back to Saginaw where her family was waiting. By multiple accounts, she was about 72 hours away from leaving when everything went wrong.
You gotta just leave. You gotta leave. You can't plan it. Get your stuff, leave. Whatever you get, your most valuable stuff, birth certificates, things like that, and leave. Quit trying to grab all this other, leave. If you're in an abusive relationship, get out of there.
Last time Dominique Vaughn sat with Shauna was July 7th, 2023, dinner together. Shauna was there, but she wasn't herself. She was subdued in a way Vaughn couldn't ignore. By July 12th, the messages had stopped entirely. Shauna wasn't responding to anyone, and for a woman who had sent good morning texts like clockwork every single day of her adult life, that silence was the loudest thing imaginable. When messages did come from her, they used the word honey and said she was fine but just busy, but the people receiving them felt something off about the wording, like someone else was writing them. Shauna's family called the police. On that exact same day, July 12th, Tony went live on Facebook. He was shirtless in what looked like a kitchen, and he was in an excellent mood.
And I asked God, I said up to him, I said, you heard them? They said they need me. So give me what they need so I can give it to them. And guess what he did? He gave it to me. 50 days out, man. Check up, man. September 16th, we doing my Welcome Home party at Vibes, man. Going big, man. We going big, man. I might bring out at least, I ain't gonna say 100 bottles, because I ain't got that much money, but at least 25 bottles, because I don't drink. I want to make sure everybody else drink, because I'm on paper, you know I can't drink, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to my brothers Nick Sosa, shout out to Dominique the Prince, shout out to my baby Quinn Rich, shout out to my baby Bully, all my babies that held me down, James Carr, all them boys, man, Young Chan, all y'all boys, man, I love y'all, man. I know y'all was wondering, where Tree at? Where Tree at? Tree was doing this, man. I have to make sure we straight. I gotta be able to come in and help Dick. I can't come in and be no leech, bro. You know that ain't how I roll. But I love y'all, man. Whole team, man. We strong, man. Everybody strong, man. Skeet, we strong, bro. Heavy, we strong, bro. You feel me? We strong, bro.
In that live, he was counting down the days until his GPS tether was coming off and hyping up a welcome home party he was planning at Vibes nightclub in Flint on July 21st, where he planned to debut his rap skills for the first time publicly. He described
Rap skills? Man, like he about somebody grandpa talking about rap skills, man. And that's what's wrong with us, man. You be 60 years old still talking about rapping.
Himself as a legend who had been developing his craft in prison for years and said he had a lot of sauce for everyone who showed up. He looked relaxed and happy, no grief, no weight, no sign of a man who was carrying what investigators now believe he had already done. The GPS tether was removed on July 13th, 2023, and police believe Shauna had already been dead since around July 11th, the same—
Whoa. Wait a minute. Hold up. So you mean to tell me the woman was already unalive when he was doing these videos talking about God? Oh, man, you going to jail.
same day Tony was listed as a parole absconder. He had pressed that live button and gone on camera while his wife's body was reportedly already in that apartment. From July 12th through July 14th, Burton police made multiple trips to the Kings Lane apartments in Burton, Michigan, after Shauna's family kept pushing for a welfare check. It is worth noting that the apartment was not even in Tony or Shauna's names. It was leased to someone else, and Tony had been staying there, which speaks to how unstable things had gotten in the months leading up to this. Each time officers knocked, Tony opened the door, stayed calm, told them he had not seen Shauna in a couple of days, and gave them just enough of an answer to avoid a forced entry.
So you mean to tell me you couldn't smell the body decomposed? Was she in his house the whole time? Where did he have the body at?
Without a legal reason to push further, they left every time. On the morning of July 15th, Shauna's mother called 911 to report that she had not been able to reach her daughter for 3 full days. Officers returned, spoke to Tony, heard the same story again, and left. Then, around 6:30 that same evening, the mother called back and told police she could smell something coming from the apartment, the kind of smell that tells you something has gone very wrong. Officers came back one final time, and this time they went inside. Inside that bathroom, they found Shauna Roy, cut into pieces and placed into garbage bags that had been left in the bathtub. The woman who organized winter giveaways and sent good morning texts to everyone she loved and had a whole plan to open a foster care facility in her city had been reduced to that. Forensic investigators determined that the actual killing had not happened in that bathroom. There was not enough blood present to support that. They concluded she had been killed elsewhere.
What? Oh, man, this dude is a psychopath, man.
And her body was moved and dismembered there using a knife and a saw, and bleach had been used in what appeared to be an attempt to clean up the evidence. Shauna's ID, her phone, and her purse were all found inside Tony's car, putting him directly at the center of what happened to her. However, by that time, Tony was already gone. He had taken Shauna's car and driven toward Detroit, and a witness came forward telling police that Tony had personally admitted to killing her. An arrest warrant was issued on July 17th for...
All right, let's hurry up and get him in jail. Let's hurry up.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail.
Yeah, you're going to jail.
You're going to jail.
You're going to jail.
Open murder and mutilation of a body, and Michigan State Police put their fugitive and emergency services team on him right away. They found him that same night. Around 11:30 on the evening of July 17th, troopers located Tony as a passenger in a black Ford Explorer on Telegraph Road near 7 Mile Road in Detroit. They moved in with weapons drawn. What followed was a standoff. Tony pressed a gun to his own head first, then turned it on the woman in the car with him. He pressed the barrel against her neck and used her as a barrier between himself and the officers who had formed a perimeter around the vehicle. An armored unit was brought in and officers called out on loudspeaker urging him to surrender, assuring him that negotiators were coming. He did not stand down. He got more wound up. When he raised that gun toward the woman's head, troopers fired in a burst that lasted under 10 seconds. The woman fell from the vehicle and was pulled to safety. She had a minor cut on her neck.
Ooh, them sharpshooters good. They shot all them shots and didn't hit the woman not one time. Man.
From the broken glass and survived. Tony Roy was declared dead at the scene.
Michigan State Police pulled over signal homicide suspect Tony R. Roy III on Telegraph Road in Detroit the night of July 17, 2023. Troopers ended up fatally shooting Roy, who had a woman hostage with him. Yeah, they just said that part. Wow. Let's see, is it any more to this story, man?
This side. Yeah. Let's stay there.
Roll down the window and put the gun outside the car.
Gun to her, gun to her. Come on! Get her out! Get her out! Get her out! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Get medical roll! Get medical roll! Hey, he's down, unresponsive.
Wow.
Hey, watch her. Hey, come from this side. Hey.
That's something like a movie.
Hey, they gotta come from this side. Yeah. Or stay there. Or stay there.
Roll down the window and put the gun outside the car.
Wow. Wow. We just seen that part. Let's see what happens after this, man. This stuff is crazy.
His wife shot and killed by police. Burton police say it started Saturday when officers responded to a welfare check at Kings Lane Apartments.
Investigators say they received reports of a woman inside who was dead. TV5's Lanita Brooks joins us live from Burton with details. Lanita?
Burton police responded to Kings Lane Apartments for a welfare check just after 7 o'clock Saturday night. It was then when they arrived that they found a horrifying crime scene. They discovered 41-year-old Shauna Roy had been completely dismembered. Her body parts had been placed in garbage bags and set in the bathtub. It was then when officials determined her husband, 44-year-old Tony Roy, had killed her, mutilated her body, and left it in the apartment. A warrant for his arrest was issued Monday, and that same day, Michigan State Police attempted to arrest Roy in Detroit during a traffic stop at about 11:40 that night. Roy then met officers with a firearm, pointing the gun on himself, and then at a female passenger who was in the car with him. Officials say as he was pointing the gun towards that passenger, he was shot by multiple troopers, killing him on scene. As for the passenger, MSP says she suffered minor injuries from glass fragments and she will be okay. And anyone who has any additional information is urged to contact police as this investigation is still ongoing. We're live in Burton. Lanita Brooks, WNEM, TV5.
All right, Lanita, thank you. Now make sure you stay with TV5 on air and online as we continue to learn more information.
A man suspected of murdering and dismembering.
Wow, we're going to get up out of here, man. Leave y'all thoughts on all this, man. What did y'all learn from this, man? All these videos should be educational. You should learn from it. Sometime when you see signs and different behavior, man, that might be an indication to get up out of there. Don't wait till the last minute because your life will be over, man. In certain situations, man. It's Compton Rick Rock. Leave y'all comments in the comment section. Y'all go to the description, hit that link, and go subscribe to my new YouTube channel, Compton Rick Rock Body Cam. I catch all of y'all on the next reaction.